All right, Israel Adesanya might be the most emotionally fragile human to walk the face of the planet, but at the very least, he is the most emotional fragile human being in the UFC, the most emotionally fragile fighter on the roster, without a doubt. Okay, because Israel Adesanya, after the video surfaced of his altercation with another member of the public, he has came out and said that he will be pressing charges over alleged racial abuse, which means Israel Adesanya is utilizing hate speech laws to go after this guy that he got into an altercation with, okay, which I find to be absolutely pathetic behavior. These laws should not even exist. That's one. Two, this is unbelievably ironic and rich coming from somebody like Israel Adesanya, who on countless occasions has racially abused his opponents, okay? This is something that he does constantly. Yet when it's happening to him, all of a sudden it's a problem, okay? Very odd and pathetic and emotionally fragile from Israel Adesanya. I just want to briefly go over this article here because it irritated me, unbelievably so. Okay, it made me very angry because I hate the use of hate speech laws, and I hate that somebody like Israel Adesanya, who, as I said, will racially abuse his opponents constantly, as long as they're white, perfectly fine. Okay, but then when the shoe's on the other foot, allegedly, by the way, because none of that you could hear in the video, Israel Adesanya is pressing charges. This is absolutely fucking disgusting. Okay, let's get to the article. All right, I'm sure many of you have already seen the video. I didn't want to really cover that. I just wanted to cover the fact that he's pressing charges. Okay, Israel Adesanya said he's pressing charges over alleged racial abuse during road rage incident in New Zealand. Right. Israel Adesanya, we'll start here, has himself now shared a statement addressing the incident to a regional outlet in New Zealand, offering his side of the story and stating that he is pressing charges against the unknown male over alleged racial abuse. Now, I'm going to be honest, dude. I listened to that video, okay? And the only racial abuse, if we're just going to, let's just use Israel Adesanya's verbiage, the only racial abuse I could hear coming out of anybody was from Israel Adesanya, okay? Calling the dude white boy over and over again. I didn't hear that guy drop a single M-bomb. I didn't hear him say a word that had anything to do with what Israel Adesanya is claiming he did, okay? Claims he's pressing charges over racial abuse during the incident, which, by the way, it's odd to me that here, in the small font, not bold, they do use the word alleged. Down here, not the case, right? In the bold, like, sub-headline or whatever you want to call this, they just leave that word out conveniently, but either way. On Wednesday, a video began circulating. As I said, many of you have probably seen that. The online MMA community in which former UFC middleweight champion Israel Adesanya could be seen in a heated argument with another driver in New Zealand. In a statement made to the New Zealand Herald, Adesanya shared that he since made a complaint to the police in central Auckland over the incident after an unknown party racially abused him. Unknown second party, pardon me. Like I said, dude, pathetic, absolutely pathetic behavior from Israel Adesanya, and unbelievably hypocritical and ironic considering this is what he loves to do. Israel Adesanya lives to racially abuse, specifically Dricus du Plessis, except now that he's lost, that's kind of stopped. Do you know what I mean? But it's absolutely insane to me because, listen, dude, he goes on to talk about how, I'm sure you guys have even seen the statement, he goes on to talk about how he tried to, de-escalate the situation, the guy continued to racially abuse him. What I want to talk about, though, is his version of events towards the end of the video, right? Towards the end of the altercation, which was caught on video. Okay? I tried to de-escalate the situation repeatedly. As he got closer, I asked bystanders to call the police. He then entered my personal space, and I felt threatened. To protect myself, I became more forceful in my language and defensive. Though he paused, the abuse continued. So I left him with some choice words cautiously, moved to my car, and drove away. Okay? The video shows otherwise, right? As like I said, we've all seen it. You spat on him. That's one. You conveniently leave that out. Two, we could hear no racial abuse coming from that side of it. It was all from you. Okay? If you want to consider him calling him a white boy over and over again, racial abuse. We couldn't hear him say anything. Now, I want to think about what could Israel Adesanya be talking about here, right? When it comes to, quote, racial abuse. Now, what comes to mind for me is, of course, the specific word, the N word, right? Okay. I do want to point out that word should not bother Israel Adesanya a single teensy-weensy little bit, okay? Not even a little bit, okay? And I'll tell you why. That word, the reason it is so frowned upon, considered to be so bad, and all the rest of it, right? Is essentially like banned to use. You know what I mean? Kind of, in a way. Not really, but you get what I'm saying. Is because of the historical context that exists, within the United States of America. Okay? Now, Israel Adesanya, he's a man of many countries. The United States of America is not one of them. Okay? This word does not mean anything in Africa. This was not a word that was used during African slavery. This is a word that is exclusive to the United States of America. Okay? Israel Adesanya should not be offended by that word. He just shouldn't be. And I don't understand the logic of you look like me, even though your lived experience and your parents' lived experience and your grandmother's lived experience and the fucking country that you came from is completely different from mine, means you get to also use this word just because you have the same color skin. It doesn't make sense. Israel Adesanya should be banned from using this word as much as a white person should be. Okay? Because if you look into Israel Adesanya's heritage and background, the Yoruba people, they sold more slaves than almost fucking anybody. Okay? That's just a fact. You can like it or not like it, but that's true. All right? People will argue that it's not the same kind of slavery. It wasn't chattel slave, all the rest of it. They sold a bunch of slaves during the transatlantic slave that made their way over to the Americas, to the UK and whatnot. Okay? These people were... I don't understand why he would even be offended by this word. Okay? And again, this is a word that he likes to use, constantly shouting in Dricus du Plessis' face. We all know what I'm talking about. And again, with him and his brother, and an insane amount of vitriol, using a slur for white people because he's upset with Dricus du Plessis. It's insane to me. But like I said, he conveniently leaves out the fact that he spat on the guy. And we all have seen the video. We've all heard it. You did not do what you said, right? You didn't. And also, we can't hear that guy racially abusing you. But what we do see is you assaulting another man. Okay, and I want to point that out. Now, in New Zealand, right, that is an assault. Police acknowledged the sentencing of a man in New Zealand Plymouth District Court today on a charge of aggravated assault on police where the man spat at police staff. The guy got sentenced, okay, with aggravated assault charges because he spat on a guy. Israel Adesanya spat on this dude. Right. I don't see that dude pressing charges. I don't see charges being pressed against, because you know why? It would be fucking bitch of you to do that, right? Because that guy in this altercation, by the way, is a moron. I don't know what he thinks this is going to do to Israel Adesanya. Okay, that dude would kick your head off, right? We can all acknowledge that. That's fine. That guy's an idiot. Probably why he's not pressing charges. Probably because he knew that this was just, do you know what I mean? This shit's not worth it, bro. And you, Israel Adesanya, a guy who pretends to be anti-woke constantly in interviews, speaking out about multiple issues, right? But then getting triggered when somebody makes fun of your nail polish. Like, you've got a serious identity crisis, my boy. Not only do you not know what country you belong to, you don't know what side you belong to culturally or politically or whatever you want to call it, okay? Because like I said, he has spoken out on issues to do with quote-unquote wokeness multiple times, right? But then he'll get upset at somebody making fun of his nail polish, and now he's going to press charges, right? Abusing the system, as I said in the opening, laws that should not exist. You should not be able to charge somebody, I just sounded so fucking Canadian there, I apologize for that, okay, bud, for words. It's insanity. It's insanity, and it's pathetic behavior, and it's just another example of Israel Adesanya being unbelievably emotionally unstable. It's pathetic. Okay, it's absolutely pathetic, and I hope that this dude doesn't actually get charged, because it doesn't seem that there was any proof, of him actually doing that, because I don't like seeing people charged over words. That's why. Not because I don't think that guy's an idiot, because I think Israel Adesanya is being a pussy right here, okay? And yes, he could beat the shit out of me. I don't give a fuck. I would never press charges over some dude calling me a cracker. Just wouldn't, okay? And that word... okay, again, should not offend Israel Adesanya whatsoever. He chooses to be offended because, like I said, he's emotionally fragile. He's unstable. He's on the brink of a mental breakdown after losing and getting strangled by the absolute Chad Dricus du Plessis, okay? So, I don't know what else more to say about this. I didn't want to play the video because I I'm sure all of you have watched many videos where they have played it. You all know what I'm talking about, right? He's at the end. Israel Adesanya is the one that commits an assault. He spits on him. Meanwhile, Israel Adesanya, the big bad UFC champion in his McLaren, is the one pressing charges over words. It's pretty pathetic behavior. Anyways, dude, like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. See you at the next video. Bye-bye.